Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it because
you'll present this.
I will present this because it's clear to me that there's a Rosida's hanky-panky. It looks like Goddard had a secret meeting with these FIFA investigators because otherwise there could be no other reason why they could not ask him a simple question like, who was the HOD of the department? I mean, that would have clarified everything. If they just ask him, if Adeel was the HOD, I can understand you reporting to him. But if you're the HOD, you cannot report to a junior and expect that junior to go to the CEO. And the question is, why didn't they ask him these questions? Why did they not ask me what my medical state was? Why make an assumption that because I'm clearing my throat, I'm being evasive? Yes, and I can prove it. Well, Goddard had a secret meeting with the FIFA investigators. They were on their way to Botswana, not to Zimbabwe. And he had a secret meeting with him. He actually physically contacted them through, this is what he says, through Ashford Mamelodi. And where he got their numbers and he made contact. And don't forget that Terry Stearns is from England. Goddard is from England.
Just let's hold on and think about this. What he's actually doing here is he's opened up his own theories ahead of the judicial inquiry, and what is concerning is that most of it is without any substance, and that's a big problem to me, in the sense that it's got to go through the judicial inquiry. The allegations, it's without much foundation, and there's a lot of speculation. So I think the only thing I can say is that it needs to go to the judicial inquiry, and then we see where we move from there.
I said to him, Steve, there is only one person who can sign contracts, and that is the CEO, Leslie Sidibe. You cannot do this. Take him up to Leslie Sidibe. And I agreed with that because that was the way the company is being run. And I said to him, but before you do that, take him to Dennis Mumble first. Dennis Mumble at the time was the head of strategy. And then Steve left with this guy from Football for You International, and they went up to Leslie Sidibe's office. About 10-15 minutes later, Ace's cell phone rang, and it was the CEO, Leslie Sidibe, who asked Ace to go up to his room, to his office. Okay, and he did. So Ace left, and Ace joined Leslie Sidibe, Steve Goddard, and this guy from Football for You International. And guys, this is where the decision was made to use these guys to supply referees for the games. I was not even in that meeting. The people who were in that meeting was Sidibe, Goddard, Ace Kicker, and the guy from Football for You International. And about 15-20 minutes later, Ace came back and followed by Goddard, and they informed me that a decision has been taken by the CEO that these guys will supply referees for the friendly matches leading up to the World Cup.
I've been aware that this board has been in his office. I've tried to communicate to SAFA the situation which exists, and there's not much else I can really say. Very difficult situation, and it's made even more difficult by speculation, which is unfounded. No, it wasn't a case of setting anybody up. The procedures that were followed by FIFA were correct in the sense that they interviewed individually. I don't know what he said to FIFA for FIFA to give the report that they have done. Quite clearly, for whatever reason, the two from FIFA have given Mr. Carelse a rather what I thought was lopsided view of the situation which existed. The points of what these is said supposedly in the report from FIFA, it shows that the people that were interviewing him just gave their opinions. It was nothing to do with me whatsoever. The procedures were well known, but the point is that I was overridden in the decision taken to use Football for You. I at no time agreed that they should be used.
Oh, so you were overruled by
The people being?
Well, the decisions came from the top.
From the president or the CEO?
Well, they were saying that they came from the top. There were actually two factions running in SAFA at the time through the existing CEO Leslie Sidibe and also what was known as the Football Transformation Committee, which seemed to run on a separate issue to the CEO. You know, where the directive came from, it was signed and sealed without much input from me.
And being the head of referees at that time?
Well, I was extremely annoyed that this was taking place.
You must understand that these guys have done investigations into match fixing all over this continent. In Niger, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and who did they meet there? Corrupt black people. So when they came to South Africa, they expected the same. Steve Goddard approached them and he had the first bite of the cherry. He had the secret meeting with them at the airport. And he convinced them, and his selling point was very simple. I was fired by Leslie Sidibe because I blew the whistle on this thing, and I was replaced by a black person, and that is what he sold to them, and they bought into that. Because if you look at his other action that he took after that, he should never have had a private meeting with these guys because that is against the FIFA statutes. FIFA doesn't operate like that. If those investigators had a reason to come and talk to me, they will inform the South African Football Association, and if, say, for argument's sake, I lived in Bloemfontein, SAFA would have moved me from Bloemfontein to Joburg where the meeting was being held. SAFA should have been informed, and they would have arranged this meeting, but he met them privately. That's exactly what happened. He met them after he had been fired because he had the knife in for Leslie Sidibe, because Leslie Sidibe fired him, and he had a knife in for me because I took over his job. And he blamed the two of us for this position that he found himself in.
The one investigator was from England, and the head of the FIFA investigation is an Australian. I had not met the Australian prior to the interview at SAFA. I had met the Terry Steens from England when he was working on a FIFA information which was questioning the activities before the World Cup. And the main area that this came from was the fact that FIFA were informed which match officials had taken place in the matches before the World Cup, and just to explain who was involved with Football for You. And that's where the initial approach came from. But having said that, it was a matter of who was the match officials from other countries who were in partnership with Football for You.
In match 1 and match 2, Lazarus Matela and Victor Tlungwane reports that they were paid their match fee directly by the people of Football for You International. In match day 3, the Polokwane game, Robert Sitola reported in his affidavit to Football for You International that Steve Goddard called the referees into his hotel room one by one and he paid them. What this means is that the payment process changed in between match day 1 and match day 3. Now this is highly irregular because how it normally works is we've got the Orlando Pirates game that just took place, and what would happen is that I as head of a department would go to finance and I would draw $3,800. What then happened is that is the official match fee for the referees, and then it is my duty to pay them, and we normally pay them at the pre-match meeting. It should never be necessary to call people into your hotel room one by one and pay them. What we also know is that the payment of the referees did not go through the SAFA structures. So it means that the money was paid to Steve Goddard directly by Football for You International, which means that Steve Goddard is the only person that we know that received money from Football for You International. We do not know how much, because Leslie was paid $500 for his job as fourth official, and Victor Tlungwane was paid $300. And we now know that Robert Sitole was never paid. Robert Sitole was told that he was going to be paid through the financial management system of SAFA. Now this is totally wrong, because the agreement was that Football for International will be paying them. If Robert Sitole was supposed to have been paid out of the FMS, it means that SAFA should have been paid by Football for You International, and this didn't happen. Steve Goddard drew the money directly from them, and then he paid the referees. And Robert Sitole was paid a month later in 2 tranches by Steve Goddard out of his own personal banking account.
The situation arose in Polokwane where the Football for You representative left Polokwane without paying the fourth official, Robert Sitole. From my side, I collected that money, which was in dollars, and then ultimately transferred from my own account to Robert Sitole, because he was in Pretoria and I was in Johannesburg. That's a simple answer there. I really don't understand why I should be targeted, because it's simple in the sense that when one reporter is interviewed by the likes of FIFA, then you give your own answers to the questions, and as to why the FIFA report came out as it did. Certainly some of the aspects of it surprised me, but I've never read that report. I've only seen what has been printed in the papers. I wouldn't say I was looking forward to it. I just wish it would arrive.
Because you also want to clear your name as well.
Yes, I mean the truth wins out in the end, and it's no good going for speculation. The truth's the truth, and that's the end of it.
Would you say that, especially when people come up with this kind of information now, people are trying to clear their names before the Commission of Inquiries takes place?
Well, the length of time that it's taken so far for this to come about, it sends a clear message that there are a lot of delayed tactics. Who's responsible for the delays, I'm not overly sure. I only read the papers and listen to what's said on TV.
A lot of delaying tactics from which side?
Well, I think that if this had been moved quickly, then it has to be from the SAFA side that the delays are coming, because everything else points to getting on with the judicial inquiry as quickly as possible.
No, he didn't set me up. He placed me in the line of fire. And he did it deliberately, because he was under the impression if he cast enough aspersions on my character that I would be fired and he can walk back in here as HOD of the department. And this allegation is exemplified by the action of the FIFA investigators, or their non-action, where there are critical questions where they never ask him, such as who was the HOD of the department at the time? Who had operational control of the department at the time? Who was the only person who received money from Football for You International in violation of the SAFA and FIFA statutes? And it's all Steve Goddard. So why didn't they ask him those questions? Yes, I did. And he apologized to me, and he said to me that it was never his intention to place me in the firing line.
So he actually admitted that he did actually do something that was untoward.
In this office, when I confronted him with the evidence that I've got, this office,
you've shown him all of this
I've
evidence.
showed him, and I confronted him. I asked him, just tell me one thing, why did you do it? And he said to me that it was never his intention to place me in the firing line. It happened by accident.
And those three amounts?
Yeah, he told us that he was offered $25,000. He later on, indicated that it was $35,000 In the report, it's $3,800. Now, it's very simple. Why not question this? Surely there's enough here to, unless it wasn't in the interest to question it.